Alright, so drawing 18, what we're going to be taking a look at is this shape right here that I'm going to refer to as a V-block. So the general idea with this is that you would use this to rest something round in so that it is held in place. These tabs would normally be a little bigger with something drilled into them to make it easy to hold something in place. I left out the holes because the circles you would need to draw are a little bit beyond your current skill level, and that's okay. So if we take a look at this from the front, it looks sort of like a rectangle with a triangle cut out of it, and then there's two more rectangles. Now we take a look at the top, we can see that this cut goes all the way through. And so the reason I call it a V block is because it's just a V shape cut into it. These rectangles on the side don't start all the way at the front. They start one unit back from the front, and they don't go all the way to the back either. And so what I would do is I would start off by drawing the overall shape. And the way I would get the angled lines, I would draw the straight line. So length, height, length, height, length. And I would make a little mark where that is. Then I would just draw connecting between them. And then I would draw the depth. And from there I can start connecting lines. So let's take a look at how to actually draw this. I'm going to move this drawing up and out of the way. And bring this down so you can see both. Okay, so now that we can see the drawings, let's start drawing things. I've got my colored markers, and I'm going to start drawing in the front view. So I'll start right over here with the front right corner. It's 3 units tall. Now this time, you want to make sure I leave enough room. So I'll start on the left so that's easier to make sure I leave room. Let's say I start right here. We come down 3 units. Now over here, you can see the overall length is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's just the length of that main rectangle. I'm leaving out the tabs for now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You'll see that this comes over 1 because I have this line right here. We got a matching line right here, so we're going to come up 1, 2, 3, and go over 1. Now I'm going to draw in the height. And before I start doing the rest of this, let's make a note of where this angle is going to go. So I'm going to come over 2 and down 2, and that's where the point is. So count over 2, 1, 2, down 2. It's going to go right to there. So the way my lines will work, now you should use a straight edge when you're drawing these lines. While it can be annoying to try to do the lines when you're working with, what's it called? So it can be kind of annoying to do it when you're doing on the grid lines, but if you're not even on a grid line, it becomes even harder. So now we have this shape. And what we could do is, I'm not going to worry too much about this for a moment. Let's think about the rest of it. So now what we would do is we'd have it coming back in depth. And something that I've seen a lot of people struggle with on this drawing or others similar to it is what to do with this line. Because what's going to happen, I'm going to start drawing in the depth and it'll become easy to see what's going on. So looking at the orthographic, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units for depth. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not going to draw this just yet. We'll take a moment to do that. Now when I get to this point, when I go to draw that line, the angle just happens to work out that it would be just following this line right back because it's just going to follow this grid line. So you actually aren't going to draw that line in. I've seen a lot of people try to show that line by coming through and doing it like this. But if you take a look, you'll see that even though this line goes straight back in the original orthographic drawing, here, even if you don't quite understand why, your brain can see, your brain sees it as twisted, and that's because it's crooked. So I'm going to draw in my lines for the angles. And so they're changing in height. So there's a height component to this line. So I'll draw it in red. There's also a length component to this line. So the height of the line changes, but so does the length. So I'm drawing it in red and green. And something I want to just make very clear is these color codes are not something that's standardized, and it's not something that other people will necessarily give you, but as you're learning, since it seems to be helping, we'll use them. And from here, now what I can do is I can start filling in the back. So this line comes in like this line's like this, and now to actually draw this, I can go back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's going to be that same angle. I could also find that by coming over 2, sorry, let me move my hand, coming over 2 and then down 2. Either way would work. And then once again, we're not going to see the other side because it's hidden behind this shape. The last piece of this is going to be to draw the tabs. Now the tab on the left side is going to be hidden. We're not going to see it. And remember that in isometric drawing, we don't draw hidden lines. But it would start here, come over 1, go back, come up, go back. And so you can see that it's not ever going to poke out from behind. Because if we had drawn in the lines for this, the back of the shape would look like this. And so you'd have that. But since we don't draw hidden lines in isometric drawing, I'm just going to erase that. I am going to come in here though, so in the top view and the side view, I can see it comes back 1 unit. So we're down at the bottom, comes back 1 unit. And now it's going to go over a unit. And it's 1 unit tall. I'll draw in the height. Now it goes back 3 units. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. So from here, height, length, and I can finish off this shape. It comes down 3, and there we go. And we wouldn't see that last little bit of a blue line because it's hidden behind here. So that is how we would draw drawing 18.